everyone and welcome to the Anime Zilia, and today we'll be going over episode 8 of the Astra Lost in Space anime series, as we start this episode off right where we ended last week's, as we see a lady, or as they obviously state in this episode, a woman, and they state this as if they've never seen one before, and apart from obviously their parents, who knows, they might not have. This scene, though, doesn't have all that much in terms of plot relevance. It just shows us who was in the stasis chamber. And then, we've got to give some praise to the intro. The music in the intro and the visuals are all fantastic, and I actually really enjoy this intro to the series. They've also changed Yunha's images, which they probably did that after her character development sort of episode, but I haven't actually seen it for a while. And then we learn more about this mysterious woman in the next scene that follows after. Her name is Paulina, which is, I think she's Russian. I don't know if they've revealed that in the episode yet, but that's not really a spoiler, so carrying on. She was part of a crew on the Ark 6, which had a mission of finding a planet that could inhabit human life. Interesting. Why would they need people to scout for the planets for that particular purpose? Oh well, who knows? This isn't elaborated on, so we'll just move on with the rest of the episode. However, she and her crew had to make an emergency landing on this planet, which resulted in them being attacked by the giant plants of the planet, thus giving them the breakdown problems. Now, the reason as to why she was in the stasis pod was because the result of her crew going out to explore and never returning, as they had a sort of like a rover on their sort of Ark 6 ship, and the men kind of took that rover with them, but they never returned. So in order to follow that small glimmer of hope that she had, she decided to go into a deep sleep. And this later on in the episode is actually said by Kanata to actually be kind of praised, because Kanata said that he actually admires her for doing that and making that decision. So that was nice thing from Kanata to say, basically. And her reactions to learning that the Astra is currently broken as well was well justified, as she collapsed from shock and a result of her not being fully recovered. Like, honestly, she's just woken up after being asleep for 12 years, thinking that she's been saved. She's happy, she's overjoyed because she can now go home. And then she's told that, you know, all these weird things are happening. They have some comedy mixed in because Luca and Ares are talking about how they got the ship and how they found it, and leaving out loads of different details, which confuses Paulina even more. And as a result of them saying, yeah, we're kind of stuck too, she collapses. Or falls back asleep. Either or, they're still pretty similar. So the comedy in this scene was okay. And we also get our first mention of Earth. So far within the story, no one has mentioned Earth, apart from Paulina and her crew members, I think. I can't remember if it's just in the manga, because once I finished watching the episode, I actually read the manga to see what differences there were. But anyway, besides the point, Earth has not been mentioned by anyone, so what is up with that? Because the planet that they're trying to get back on while they're travelling on the Astra should be Earth, right? Oh well. And the manga left out a small piece of interaction between Ares and Paulina before Paulina met the crew. However, this doesn't have any real impact on anything, and important-wise, not so much. It's just basically the manga's way of kind of making it realistic to the point where they kind of think, okay, who's the most friendliest character that we've got on the Astra that can kind of talk to this new stranger and kind of make her feel at home and make her feel comfortable? And that's basically what Ares' role in the manga is in that particular scene. We didn't get to see this in the anime, probably because they thought it was okay to leave it out. Would have been nice, but nevertheless, it's not a big issue. And then Ares comes to the rescue as she figures out that if they swap the working parts of the Arc 6 with the broken parts of the Astra, because the ship can basically disconnect into 3 separate pieces, they can then combine the working pieces of both ships in order to make a new ship, hybrid type of thing, that will be available for space travel. So this solves the kind of crisis that they're in terms of the ship not being able to leave the planet, which is really good. And I love the fact that it came from Ares, because her ideas are out of the box and creative, really, to the point where they work. And it does show that Ares is, you know, although she seems a bit spaced out and a bit kind of silly at times, she still can have these great moments and can think properly. The comedy that we get, though, between Zack and Ares in this part about stealing food, I did laugh a little bit at that. That was quite nice. So, we do learn a bit more about Zack in this episode. And you kind of gotta feel bad, because he feels bad about after crashing the Astra. And it's now revealed that he's happy that the Astra is working again. He's relieved enough to the point where he'll even strike a pose, like 2 fingers, saying, yeah, I'm cool, see, I can do this. And it seems a bit out of character for Zack. Oh, and speaking out of character, why is Zack now quoting Kanata? When he's talking to Quiltadine, he actually says that, you know, survival tip number 5. What is number 5? If you... Oh, never lose hope. Once you lose hope, it's all over. Something like that. And I'm just like, why is he quoting Kanata? Oh well, carrying on. We also learn that Zack doesn't like his father. And honestly, I don't blame him. Even from that little bit of interaction so far, where they're at the school talking, I don't like his father either. Was it Jed? And, yeah, so... this guy, Zack's father, he smiles at his child after receiving a personalized drawing of himself, and then he throws it in the bin after thanking his son. Although from Zack's point of view, perspective, his father's eyes were emotionless and cold, so this didn't really affect him too much, but it just backed up the fact that, you know, he's an unloved child by his father's rights. This is one reason as to why Zack doesn't want to become a researcher in the same field as his father. Instead, he wants to be a space researcher. He wants to join Kanata on his space adventures and learn about things that he hasn't seen yet, which I think is pretty cool. And I'll love it if they do a spin-off of that, because that'll be pretty nice. And the whole scene with Courtline and Zack was great, because it was these 2 characters. Zack's reactions mixed with Courtline's overreactions and expressions is what made this part of the episode so much fun for me. As we get told that Courtline's real wish is to become Zack's wife. And this part had me laughing like crazy. And Zack's just like, huh? Aren't we already getting married? Courtline overreacts like she always does. And Zack's like, I promised you a long time ago. And this part was absolutely great. Because although we've got, you know, we just learned that Zack's father was kind of emotionless and just stared blankly. And at the same time, Zack's doing the exact same thing. And even Courtline kind of points him out on it, saying you've got no right to dish your father's emotionless state, when you're just like going, huh? Or, yeah. He's not showing much reaction at all, which is classic Zack, and I like that. And then we also get the other kind of other side of it, where Courtline's overreacting to kind of make up for the fact that Zack isn't reacting. So this whole scene was very comedic, and it was a nice touch for the 2 characters in terms of their personal interaction. So I really did think they did a good job on that part. However, I'll get to it in a minute, but the manga did do it a little bit better. Now then, time for the real bombshell, as it is revealed. So, after checking everyone's blood type to see if anyone can donate blood to Paulina, Courteline found out that her and Funi shared the exact same blood type. So, after a bit of speculation as to reason, like they even bring up the fact that Courteline's mother could possibly do something to the point of having 2 children and then kind of giving one child, this case being Funi, to her friend and not telling Courteline. But I kind of would have think that Courteline would notice if her mother was pregnant, so I don't know. Maybe she was too young to notice. And Zack uses the Astra's computer to do a DNA test for the 2 characters, revealing that they are indeed not sisters. In fact, they are the same person. So this leads to the question, what could this mean? Well, this is actually the episode's cliffhanger. So we'll have to wait until next week to learn out more, but it looks like cloning could be involved. And if that's the case, then maybe Luca's dad could be involved as well. As seen in earlier episodes, he was being asked by reporters, and we know that Ulga's brother was kind of chasing Luca's father about something that was very dark and sinister, and he was being asked about something that may not be ethical. So, could that be linked to cloning? And is that the reason? Who knows? We'll have to wait until next week. Now then, in this part of the video, I will be talking a bit about the manga. I won't be spoiling anything past this episode. So if something happens in the manga, like the reason as to why Courteline and Funi are the same person, I won't be talking about anything like that. I'll be talking about things that happened primarily in this episode that the manga did and the anime didn't. So, manga spoilers if you haven't read it yet. Anime spoilers, not here. So, in the manga, we have a scene as to where Kanata and Funi are in a blizzard. And this is where they're out looking for food, same as Zack and Courteline. They're looking for stuff and plants so they can eat. And it seems like a real problem has occurred because the 2 characters get caught in this blizzard and a creature attacks them. And it's up to Kanata to kind of find Funi and get back to the ship with both being still alive. This is also the way in which the manga shows the crew being reliable from Paulina's perspective, as she sees everyone helping each other out and showing off the team's teamwork and their skills once a frozen Kanata and Funi return. This basically makes Paulina's character go, oh, these kids, they're just kids, and yet they're able to do all this, they're able to organise themselves this way and that way, and they're so reliable. So, yeah, we could possibly get home here. This part of the manga inspires Paulina to accept and to kind of be on board with the crew, to kind of, not take too much control or be too skeptical of them. But the anime just skips this and uses like their happy and optimistic emotions of the crew to amaze Paulina in thinking that, it's thanks to their hard times that they've had and the fact that they can smile like this, they must be great. So I was a bit annoyed that they left that out. And there's another side note. The whole love confession and Zack's backstory was handled a bit better in the manga, as it showed off more emotion and the dialogue was a bit better from both characters in terms of what they said and how they reacted. Like, we had Zack saying I love you to Courteline, and Courteline's like, I can't even say that, and then sort of like runs away, and then she comes back to the ship and she's like, oh, nothing happened, and she's all giddy, happy. The manga did this, anime didn't, so that was a little bit disappointing. But all in all, this episode was an okay episode for me. Not the best, but certainly not the worst. Animation was okay and the comedy was great. The ending of the episode had a good reveal, but the ending itself was awkward, as it didn't really fade out for an ending. Now, you know how you have the bombshell, and it has like the sound effects, and then the outro comes in? Well, this bombshell came at the very last second, and then it just kind of tried to fade out into the space background, and then just stopped. Bit clunky on their part. They could have handled that a lot better. Maybe kind of, I know I like the opening, but maybe not have the opening in, but keep the ending. I don't know. Some good reveals, and obviously the character information was great as well. So if you, pardon me, haven't seen this episode, make sure you go and check it out, because you will miss out on a few good details and information, and obviously you want to know who Paulina is. I mean, don't you? Anyway, let me know all your thoughts on this episode down in the comment section below. If you've enjoyed it, if you disliked it, if I missed anything that the manga did better, let me know, but try not to spoil too much for people who haven't read the manga. All in all, everyone, I hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Goodbye for now.